last weekend. Hope you're doing well. Praying for you always. And so I would, and it's like, and
That's
literally
good,
she would
bro.
think that was him, and she would call my mom, like, "Oh, Josh just called me, left me the sweetest voicemail." And my mom looks at me and it's like, "That wasn't Josh, was it?" And then I noticed that Barack Obama kind of had that same cadence, if you will. So I kind of, and I couldn't do Obama for the longest time, and I would get so frustrated. And then one day I realized, if you go into Josh Bell, is a great setting, beautiful light. I mean, just see the cars going by, and then you kind of slowly kind of go a little deeper into this table is very nice. I think Michelle would like this. I don't know how much she would like it, but I think she.
Bro,
she
that's
yeah.
That's awesome,
So
man.
yeah,
That's awesome, man.
It's kind of weaving everything together. So I noticed that some people I can imitate, they kind of sound like another person I can imitate. So
yeah, I was about to say, is it just a matter of finding someone who sounds similar?
Yeah.
Like, I know this person. Oh, let me just go ahead and try to get this over here. Take B to C.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
That's cool.
Yeah. And that's why I wanted to do stand up in the first place, was because I knew I had this talent, and I remember, thinking to myself, where could I go to showcase this? Where could I go to kind of have a platform? Where could I go that I could be different, where I could set myself apart from everybody else? What's the one thing that's gonna separate me from this guy doing this and this girl doing that, or whoever? And it's impressions. I mean, not everybody does them. Not everybody can, are good at them. I mean, I've seen some really good ones and I've seen some really bad ones, but it kind of motivated me to be like, well, I know I can do a whole smorgasbord of people. And so that's when I started going to the Comedy Zone many moons ago, and that's where it all started, really, as far as a platform building, because something I've been building since I was a kid, and being able to go on stage and finally do something that I've been doing my whole life in front of people was an amazing feeling. An amazing feeling. My first one was horrible.
That's all I was about to ask. Walk us through that, bro. Now walk us through that. From beginning to end.
So I was at a buddy's house, and I remember I saw, I think it was Facebook, where they had these open mic nights at the Comedy Zone, and I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And I was thinking to myself, and I remember I asked him, I was like, I'm thinking about doing this, and he was like, why think about it? Just do it. Just give it a shot. And what's the worst that could happen? You crash and burn, you learn from it, or if you're good at it, you keep doing it. And I'm like, oh, that's true. So I emailed the Comedy Zone. They were like, yeah, we got this Thursday, this time, whatever. And I remember I have a lot of anxiety as it is. So to go on that stage in front of complete strangers and do a 5-minute set of impressions was like, no one ever heard of that before. It was like, I know people did it. I know people did certain impressions or accents or whatever, because impressions can be, many different things to many different people. But for me, I took it very seriously, and I never took myself seriously. I took my stand-up and my act seriously. Right. I never wrote anything down. It all came straight from the head, because I would remember it better that way. That's just kind of how I did things. And so I remember my first set, I did one of the worst Nicolas Cage impressions ever. And I made him sound like he was, it just didn't sound like him at all. And I got a couple laughs, but I remember walking off stage feeling like, okay, the first part's over. Now what can I do to capitalize and get better? So I literally started just thinking of the weirdest things that I could put Trump in, or I could put Obama in, or I could put this person in or that person in, and I would go on stage. And sometimes, I remember talking to you about this, sometimes I would have something already planned out to do, and then I would change it right before I went on stage, just based on the vibe I was getting from the room. If the person before me just blew it out of the water and everyone loved it, I'm like, well, the act I have is not going to top that, so I need to find something that will top it. And so right before I get on stage, I would think about taking this person out, I'm going to put this person in, I'm going to bring this person down here, I'm going to bring this person up here, I'm going to do this person first, and I'm going to do this person last, and then I'm going to get my introduction or whatever. And I would do it that way, and then I would get, an ovation, or I'd get a, round of applause or whatever. And so I guess it's just more of like, I haven't done stand-up in so long, but I always think about those fond moments of being on stage and having like the worst sets ever, and then having people come up to me and being like, bro, that was so funny. I don't know why they weren't getting it. I don't know why they weren't laughing, So it is what it is.
But that's gotta be cool though when someone is one or two people recognize your talent or the genius and you putting all that together.
Yeah.
That's gotta be a good feeling, man.
Yeah, I would always go to my buddy's house before, and this was back when I was single, so nobody judge me. But I would just I got loaded one night, and I went to the Comedy Zone, and I remember I ordered a Jack and Coke, and this is when Tom
It's my
Edmonds.
favorite. I like that.
Oh yeah, I love it. This is when Tom Edmonds started taking it over.
Oh, yeah.
And
Okay.
super funny guy. I love Tom. I mean, he's just always.
Shout out to Tom.
Yeah,
Gotta get you on here, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I remember I got a Jack and Coke, and I remember I was probably the fourth or fifth person to go up, and I got way too plastered, and I don't even remember what I said, and I just remember I had the little golf clap, and I got off stage. So that's when I cut out drinking before shows, because I realized it affected my set, because I thought way too much into it. So, but I would always go to my friend's house before the sets. I'd go to work, I'd get off work, I'd be jacked up all day, just thinking about getting on that stage. I mean, as soon as I walked in and I walked up those stairs and I got to the Comedy Zone, I mean, it was like, I'm home. Let's tear it up. I don't care who's here, who's not here. It doesn't matter. My focus is making somebody laugh. If I made one person laugh, that was my whole goal. I didn't care if I made the whole room laugh. I didn't care if I made half the room laugh. If I could make one person laugh, then I knew I did something right, because it was helping me at the same time. That makes sense. It was helping me through, because I was going through a depression at that time. So for me to be able to get on stage and be vulnerable, I didn't have to be myself for those 5 minutes. I could be somebody else.
So it's almost like acting.
It was acting.
You build a character,
but
I guess you're shining your life vicariously through this character you performing on stage.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and my mom was my biggest supporter, because she came to every single one of them, and she would always sit right in the middle, and I always had to tease her a little bit, but she loved it. And then so yeah, I mean that's really, ever since I was a kid to now, I mean that's just something that I enjoy doing. I enjoy imitation. I enjoy making people laugh, and on we go.
I don't know if it was Dave Chappelle or somebody, but it's often been said that some of the greatest comedians or greatest artists have the deepest pain.
Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
And how you're able to, I guess, work through those things through your art.
Yeah.
I was going to say, do you find it kind of the truth for yourself?
Exactly. I mean, I think that you because everybody goes through hard times.
Yeah.
And I think it's, music was a big thing for me too. That right song or band that just, you hear a certain song from them that you probably listen to a million times, but you never get tired of it, because they're talking to you. If you just listen, they're literally talking to you in a sense of, you can cry, or you can laugh, or you can just be angry, or whatever emotion you feel, but that song or that person is helping you get through it. And like I said, for me, it was always comedy. I always found comfort in, even if I was going through the worst pain in the world inside, for whatever reason, and a lot of it was self-inflicted. A lot of it was just, feel bad for me, pity me, my dad left when I was 12, this, that, whatever. And, but then I realized the older I got and the longer I did it, was that it was healing me to give somebody an opportunity to come in, because you never, it's like when you walk into church. You don't know what people are walking in, the kind of baggage they're bringing with them, And when you hear somebody talk about something like it's motivational, or it's a comedy show, or it's a concert, it's like it's an escape. The people come to those shows and they do those things, like working out too. It's like you find a niche of something that helps you understand that you build yourself off the situations that you've been through. You put yourself together when you break apart or when you fall apart. And so anytime I felt myself falling apart, I'd go do a set. And at the end of it, I feel whole again, if that makes sense.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's profound, man.
Yeah. So definitely, I agree. I definitely agree that some of the greatest comics in the world, they started from somewhere, but they also came from a background of you're never going to be anything. No one thinks you're funny. Do I think I'm funny? Like I had all those. I'll never forget. I did a show at the Comedy Zone that Thursday a couple years ago, and then I went that following Monday to the Coffee Underground. And and I'm sitting in the bar area drinking some coffee, kind of going through what I was gonna do, and this comic came up to me. I was like, "Hey, you're the guy." And this is the first criticism I ever got the whole time I did it. I never had it happen before. Don't think it ever happened again. But this guy, I did a Jay Leno impression, and he literally said, "You sound nothing like Jay Leno." And I remember I looked at him and I was like, "Okay, because you're in the investigator of impressions, so you know who sounds like and who doesn't." And he was just like, "What?" And in my opinion, this guy wasn't really the funniest person I'd been around. I'm sure he was to other people, and if that's the case, that's his prerogative. But I took that as fuel, and then I went on stage, and I worked on it. And I remember I did the best set ever in my life that night. And I remember I walked off stage, and he was sitting right there in the front row, and he just stood up and shook my hand and was like, "I was wrong. Like, you blew it out."
Hey, that's gotta feel good though. Like
yeah,
maybe you needed that.
Yeah, maybe. And now that I look back on it, because I was thinking about what I could talk about, and I wanted to bring that up because people look at criticism differently. They look at it as, "Oh man, this guy don't know what he's talking about. This person don't know what they're talking about. Like, they don't know me." I don't look at it like that. I look at it as motivation, because if you tell me I suck at something, I'm going to prove to you that I don't. Plain and simple. Whatever that may be. And it might be something that I've never done before in my life. But if you tell me I can't do something and you put a fourth wall up, I'm going to break through that wall and I'm going to prove to you that I can't do it.
Let's go. Let's go.
So I used that as motivation. I went on stage and I crushed it. I mean, I hit it out of the park. I mean, even that big old guy, Brett, the guy that used to be the MC before Tom took over, he had a Trump impression. Like, "That guy's huge." And I remember he would do that, and then I would always bounce ideas off him, and he was such a good mentor to me, because he would Brant Allen, that was his name. And he was so kind to me, because he, from one impressionist to another, he kind of understood that my sets were very important to me because they were organized in my mind. And he was like, "So you really don't write stuff down?" I was like, "No, I don't." First off, my handwriting was like a 5-year-old. Second off, I can't read something and make it sound authentic, if that makes sense. It has to be natural. It has to be organic.
Yeah, that's that feel good.